Hello, and welcome to the after show for Just Around the Corner, episode 3. I literally, just before we started recording this, I remembered that now we have a love triangle going on, and it turns out that both the other people, other than Saren, have envy as a vice. So this is gonna go great.
Yeah.
Yep.
By great, you mean awful and
Yeah.
heart-wrenching.
Yep, which is great.
Once Darian finds out, he's not gonna be happy.
Correct.
Yeah.
How you feeling? How's everybody feeling?
Drained.
Pretty good.
Woo!
Pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah.
drained.
Pretty
Feel like
hungry,
you're getting
actually.
do you feel like you're getting some
First-
answers? Do you feel like you're starting to piece things together a little bit, or no?
I'm getting this idea that so I guess Chelsea has theories. Like I, as a player,
Sure.
have theories. I think Ida is still very clueless because
Yeah.
as mortals, I think there's this there's all these misconceptions around the paranormal, and she eats, sleeps, and breathes them. So you know,
Yes.
it's like, well, it's got to be a werewolf, then therefore Silver has to work, right? And it's like, well, it's a vampire, therefore
Right.
Garlic has to work. And so she has these very kind of like mortal ideals of how to fix the problems, even though I'm sure that they are so wrong. I'm sorry, I'm
Right.
sure they're so wrong.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we definitely now know in game that we're pretty sure on is there is the Fey parallel thing that is leaking through
Right.
at the point of the cottage, and that's like important information that we now are pretty certain on. We're not even sure
Right.
exactly what the werewolves are because they're not werewolves in character, so everything else is a little bit fluid. Like we're closing in, but the one thing we know now is like this other world is leaking in at that
Yeah.
So
point.
is that your go-to theory then? EE is Fae.
I use the term Fey because trees and a lot of creepy crawlies and beasts. So that's my in-character thing, is just being like, I don't know, other
Right,
world.
right. Yep.
Admittedly, I don't really know a lot about World of Darkness, so
Either.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
when everybody in the chat was like, "Oh, it's mage," or "No, it's changeling," it's got to be this. It was like, I don't know.
Chat. Even
Maybe that
today,
means-
though they've definitely narrowed it down since episode 1. Even chat today is like, well, it still could be beast, or it could still be changeling, or even a mage could easily do all of this, and that's all very true. But they've definitely narrowed it down, and they've definitely knocked out a few things.
I mean,
and
if they're wolf people and they're not werewolves, they're like some sort of shapeshifter? Maybe?
it's possible. The
Possibly.
thing is, in World of Darkness, there are at least 3 different types of creatures from different lores that can look like wolves. Even vampires with the gangrel bloodline, they can take on a bestial form, and they can grow claws and get big and hulking and scary. And
We did kill the one with a shotgun blast, though.
correct,
That
Yeah.
one did die.
that's a telltale sign for people who know their lore.
So it's
Even
not- it's-
Ida should even know, like, if that was a werewolf, it shouldn't have gone down that easy.
Are
Okay.
Lugaru or Loopgaroo a thing in World of Darkness?
Lucaru, spell it.
I'm not sure.
Lugaru.
Lugaru.
I think it's something like that, isn't it? I know
Lugaru is
the
a
thing you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Lugaru.
Gotcha.
Rugaru. It's like Rugaru.
So like animal people kind of things? Yes
Sort of,
and no. Yes and no. I don't know if they actually, I don't know if they exist specifically as Lugaru, but animal/human type creatures definitely exist.
Okay,
Um,
because that's sort of what I was getting the vibe of.
yeah.
Yeah. Man, that combat though,
Lethal.
that is rough.
I would have gone so much better if I'd played tactically, but because I was like panicking, I was like, I don't know, Sarah's gonna go either 2 ways. Either she'll basically go like quiet and just internally just hating herself, or she would just run away and be like, fuck it, my time to die. So I was like, I'm gonna roll a resolve thing, and oh, well, it's my time to die. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna go at the front. I'm the only person who can deal DPS in the entire group. That's not a good idea. And then as soon as like one attacked you, I was like, she's gonna focus about protecting her friends above all others, because like she's gonna be like self-sacrificing on this. So as soon as one attacked you, I was like, no, I should finish off this one. But actually, I'm gonna attack that one instead. I was like, this is a terrible idea.
I'm hoping to fix that by the next session, though. If we have the opportunity to, I'd like to purchase a few things with my resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, will we get any resource time between the sessions, do you think? Because I know we're going immediately straight out. But
Well, yeah.
I've got my eye on
I
the Barrett 50 cal.
I mean, like we'll see what we can
Yeah.
do. I'll debate on what you're depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
trying to decide if I should get like level up on firearms or if I'm just
Like
done with.
you could easily run home and grab like shotgun shells that you
Yeah.
probably have laying around to restock your shells and stuff. But
I'm thinking like a baseball bat.
oh yeah, you could definitely find a baseball bat, easy.
Okay.
Decent
feel better.
That
armor.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
Decent armor. Maybe a sidearm as well, because I can't camera shotgun all the time.
yeah. We'll talk. I'll basically lay out a list of the things you're looking for, and I will tell you what you're able to get in the meantime.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm curious, like, because the U.S. players don't know World of Darkness well, and you don't know what could be going on. Does it frustrate you that you have no answers?
No, I think that's the point of
No.
the game, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it makes it better. I think it makes
Yeah.
it better because now, like, it's one, I get to stumble in blind, and being blind actually simulates fear.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm legitimately like I'm not really afraid of too many things, but it's like when I look at the oceans, I'm not afraid of sharks, I'm not afraid of like krakens or anything like that. But what else is down there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the first time we saw Matthew, and it was at the hut or whatever.
The cabin, yeah.
Yeah, we were just like, fuck, he could just be a murder machine. We should back away and slowly.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
you've talked to him, and he's actually fairly chill. But that fear was like allowed us to roleplay in a different way. And I think provided, you know going in, you have a conversation with the DM that you're going to be like, right, we're not going to know, so play it based on that. Like, don't do the whole, I'm going to throw 10 krakens at you, but you need to know they're only weak to whatever. I mean, krakens is a good example, but...
That's just because there is a fine. The reason I asked that question is because there is a fine line, especially with players who are newer to any system. It doesn't have to be World of Darkness. Is that the confusion and having no answers can frustrate really easily. So to ride that line and keep you not frustrated but still intrigued and still in the dark, it's hard to do. And I always worry, like, am I too obtuse to the point where you guys are now getting infuriated because you still don't feel like you know anything? But I also walk away from the session feeling like the four of you picked up on some things as well.
Yeah, I feel like we've picked up on things every time we've played. And I think it's, as somebody that plays a lot of tabletop games, as the rest of you, I think there's some that lend themselves a lot easier to getting the information you need. It's like, that's part of the game for storytelling. I think what I'm finding with World of Darkness is it's really challenging as a player to think of ways, it's like, you play D&D and you just have all kinds of stuff. You got adventuring packs and ropes and things, and you don't have that playing as a mortal in World of Darkness. So for me, it's been a really interesting gameplay challenge to have to think about this character, this 80-year-old woman, like what would she legit have on her, and how can that be used in any way to our advantage? And sometimes it's just not. Like, you are the disadvantage. You are just always at a disadvantage.
That's how I feel, as Kara sometimes. You're just helpless. Like, you don't really have anything. So
I think that's one of the things that I like about RPGs that aren't D&D, because D&D is a combat RPG, right? All the stats, other than maybe like one or two, are nearly always combat. And the other ones are like, oh, for a spellcaster, they're combat, otherwise they're dump stats. You think of it, it's always a combat RPG. It's not designed really for investigation. You can do it. It's not really designed for social. You can do it to an extent. Other RPGs are much better at that. And I think that's one of the things
always
I
at a
really
weakness
like.
of combat.
I definitely think that, that's what I would agree, though, is that most other RPGs suffer in combat areas, whereas in D&D, like, because it is such a heavy combat-focused game, that's where it excels, but it's very clunky. It's very mechanically driven, so a lot of people get hung up on that. But I would agree that World of Darkness does definitely lend a bit more to the roleplay element.
Yeah, it's definitely built. I mean, the DM is technically called the storyteller, right? Like,
Yes.
It's supposed to be heavy, and I think the way World of Darkness tries to alleviate the fact that their combat might not be as strong is that it's fast and lethal. So you're not doing combat for 5 hours. Instead, you're doing combat 30 minutes to an hour, and by the end, you're dead or close to it. Or
I mean, our combat would have been 30 minutes if we weren't so unlucky and yet also lucky at the same time.
True. Yeah. I mean, but that's the point. Like, and I actually kind of appreciate that. There's something to having combat that is a little bit more simple, but a little bit quicker and more lethal. That makes it feel a little more real for me, because you're pointing a gun and shooting, and you're not sitting there going, "Okay, I've got a +1 gun, and I've also got a +2 for my dex, and then I've got an equipment bonus for this."
It's one of the things I like about Shadowrun. It doesn't do the simplicity part, but it does the, like, if you are going into a fight, do everything you can, otherwise you are probably screwed. If you're not playing if you're not playing Pink Mohawk, because in Shadowrun, like, if you get shot with like a pistol, that's over half your health gone instantly.
Yeah.
Provided you're not wearing armor or you're like if someone's aimed at you and you don't get a chance to dodge, they could possibly even take you out in one hit. And that's one of the things I really like. It makes it you think twice before going, I'm gonna attack that. That's my solution.
Yeah. because I remember guns should be lethal in an RPG anyway, and that's one of the easiest ways to do it is low health, fast, lethal combat. I remember D20 Modern way back in the day, and I was never happy with how they.
No, I don't even think it's still handled that well, to be honest. It's still
in D20 Modern, or
no, like just in modern sets like 5th edition.
Okay.
Any reverse rules, like anything that has legitimate black powder or higher firearms are very weak in comparison. Well, they don't have the lethality to it.
Firearms are not particularly more lethal than many other weapons. They're much easier to use. We didn't change to firearms because they were more lethal. We changed them because you don't need to train anyone. You can just be like, here's a gun, point, shoot, and the person's like, okay. Arrow, you need weeks of training to get a good shot. So I think that, like, I think the RPGs we've just named, they've all got the same thing. They're dice ball systems. Yeah. They mean that you are reliable because you get a bell curve for your probability, whereas a D20 is a flat. And it's more gamified, it's simpler, but I think it loses that element of, like, reliability, like, you know how good you are at a lot of things. And that means that D&D, everyone's actually just as good in combat-ish, in different aspects, because they have skills in different aspects, but everyone can still do a combat role. Whereas in another thing, you can be like, right, no, I have my speciality and I'm good at that speciality.
I will state today's combat was interesting because it showed a weird state of gender placement where all of the women were fighting and the man was trying to heal and defend as much as possible.
I made my character for that,
awesome. But I thought it was really awesome to see that.
Well, I think too, it put us at odds with the things like, I think Darian stepped up and like hit some things with his fist. Like, the combat changed all of us. And like, you look at Saren and like near-death experience, we can already tell that that's affected her.
That's actually what I walk away from that combat saying. It served a greater purpose in that. Granted, it was the purpose was also on like a surface level to show, here's how combat works in this game. This is dangerous. That's how it's going to roll. But at the same time, what I'm proud of for you guys is to watch the four of you come out of that combat and act like people who have never seen combat in their lives and having to kill something and how you barely survived and how there was a moment where Kara didn't even think and just hurled a gun so she could run over to Saren to check if Saren was alive. And like, that's the stuff that a lot of groups I've played with and still play with to this day would never step that extra level of role playing. They would just be like, okay, well, I swing my sword next. He might be dead, but I know out of game he's not dead, so he'll be fine. And to see not only that, and then when the combat is over, just watch the interactions between the four of you. That's why I constantly have been saying on Twitter and the videos, like, you guys are some of the best players I've ever had the luxury of introducing World of Darkness to in general, because you took to it so quickly, and you guys work off each other so well. And to see the four strangers in game and out of game in a way come together so tightly, and these traumas aren't pushing you apart, they're bringing you more and more together. Like Darian saying, I'm not fucking leaving, like Saren and all this other stuff. In session 1, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? But 2-3 sessions later, I don't know.
I think the big thing is we've got to a point in session 3 where we're now pushing deliberate boundaries between our characters apart because we know that we can still tie them together.
No, I'm very happy. You guys are
also, I will say the one thing that I would have been really, really disappointed about with RP is if everyone had rolled the medical check on Saren and gone, oh no, she's dead, and just left as I was believing, I'd have been like, well, fuck RP. Fuck
Could you imagine?
That'd be.
I don't want to imagine.
Wake up alone in the woods at the beginning of next week, probably. That's a possibility.
I wouldn't have left her.
Yeah.
Clearly, Ada's the only person that leaves a man behind. Everybody else is like,
oh no, like Ida's decision made complete sense. And, like maybe if I was playing a different character, I'd totally have gone with that decision. Yeah. But Saren doesn't like leaving little girls behind.
I thought about it from the beginning, and then I gave up when I realized like maybe this wasn't a manifestation of Matthew, that this was something separate. And
I thought for sure. There was a moment where I'm like, she's gonna stab her.
You should know. I was a moment's hesitation.
I was ready on your turn. Like, this is it. This is where she stabs Lilia. This will make things very interesting.
See, and I knew it. I had this feeling that like if I stabbed her and killed her, it would just fuck so much up. And it was actually the fact that he didn't seem very interested in her that made me hesitate. Because I was like, well, there's no need for taking needless life. Like Ida's not a serial killer, but if it means the difference between breaking this reality or bursting something open or getting rid of them, she would have jabbed that letter opener right in her killer.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, well, Ida has killed before. Admittedly, it was a manifestation of her
well,
husband.
she's killed in a dream.
True.
You don't know if she's killed in real life.
She probably has it in real life, let's be honest.
But she probably has.
But she did that without hesitation too. Like,
I mean, Saren has shotgunned a man before, but it was rock salt.
Yeah, she's
True.
Yeah, I don't know where Ida's at yet.
To be fair, you made the right choice, I think, because otherwise I give us like a 40% chance of winning that combat. Best.
There was
I just knew that if Darian went down, there's no way Ida could have completed the combat.
Yeah, like the wolf had like at least 3 HP left from a meta
about
standpoint.
3.
Yeah.
Ida would have died long before.
Ida was rolling a chance die, Darian was rolling 1 die.
I had no skill in firearms, and then like all of the minuses, it was just killing me. I was not gonna get a shot.
Yeah. Because you did 6 damage to it, right? I think total.
To
the one that was still alive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
Some
that's what
lethal,
we did
some
to her.
bashing.
I shot at it once for like 4 or something.
Okay, yeah, he still had 9. He had 3 left, so he had 9 total. But what you picked up on and what Darian talking to Matt was really fun, just to listen to what did Bub actually picked up on, what the 3 of you picked up on, and I had a great time. I adore this group. This was such a good group for this game. So.
I love playing this game. I'm gonna be like so sad when it's over.
I can take a second
I mean, I'm sad when I play, but
to dote on you for a minute. I think the piano scene was beautiful.
Oh,
That was very well described, and as a longtime GM storyteller, I felt like I was there. And
that's
out of game,
the best compliment you can get.
I was pretty freaked out when bees flew out of the piano. I was like, "Ugh!"
yeah,
Oh,
it reminds
God.
me. All I could think was that scene from The Craft at the end where they're messing with her mind, and the whole house fills with like the serpents and the bugs, and it just like
Yeah.
like ooze out of it. Yeah,
I really like that, but the bit that I pick up on and I'm trying to like steal off Mathis, I'm trying to like absorb by osmosis, is the sheer emotions that he can put into NPCs. Like any time that you get those NPCs who are like going raw emotion, I'm like that I want to learn. Just keep going. It's gonna sink in.
Thank you. I mean, just to be able to just hearing that I can put you in a place is obviously the best compliment a DM, GM, storyteller, whatever the fuck you want to call it, can get. If I can just even for a brief moment make you think you're somewhere else.
yeah.
Good. I'm glad. This has been a really fun story to tell. Like I said, I think at session 1, this has been a story I've had in my back pocket for a long time. And I've been wanting to run it for some new players. And this is, honest to God, I've said it like 3 times already, but I could not ask for a better 4 players. It's fucking, you guys are great.
Well, I think what Bub's trying to say is we couldn't ask for a better storyteller.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like a lot of DMs that I run into, everybody has their niche game. Like the game that that's their game. And for one reason or another, when World of Darkness came by my lap, it hooked me. And I was like, all right, this is going to be it. And that's the kind of the game I learned as like knowing like, because I never really met anybody that wanted to run World of Darkness. So I was like, well, if nobody's going to run it, I'm going to run it. And so
Out of interest, where was like World of Darkness in your like chronology
in my
of
D&D
RPGs?
life? So I jumped into Tabletop Life at 3.0 D&D, and it was very soon after because I got hooked on D&D, and I was like, this is great. And around 2004 is when they released New World of Darkness, and that's when I jumped in. So 2004, 2005 is when World of Darkness came across my table, and I learned about New World of Darkness with the newer rule set. I had heard about the Masquerade, but I was like, man, it looks like edgy garbage goth kid shit. I don't want it, which is a dumb way to think, but that's how I was when I was younger. And then I got the books in my hand. I'm like, no, this is super cool. And I ran games, and I made all the same mistakes early storytellers make. Where you run a vampire game, and all of a sudden your vampires are nighttime superheroes, and you're like, that's not how this is supposed to go.
Right.
But yeah, it's just the game that hooked me and just felt the most natural. I love World of Darkness. So
yeah,
I hope you guys love it too. And if
I am.
Well, maybe in the future
Loving it.
we can do.
I feel like kind of skewed too because like I've never played it, and the first time I'm playing it, we're playing as a mortal, so I'm not in on
any of it.
You know, I feel like I'm like just the way mortals actually are. You know, when they're playing in a realm of just tiny and
They're tiny, insignificant ants.
Ants, you know, just like so out of control and not really in place for your own fate. You know.
It's such a different way of RPing for me too. So I've been enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
Mortals stand a chance when they go full Stranger Things and set up traps and all kinds of stuff. That's when mortals can really take
Well,
on.
and see, that's really what I wanted to do in the tree line. Like, I think that's what I was getting, but we didn't have anything. Like, we had nothing.
Yeah.
So now I think the other thing that we all learned from this is like suit up.
Yeah,
It's
no,
time
Saren
for
is
the
going to
group
carry
suit
like
up.
2 magazines of extra shotgun shells, probably like a couple of Berettas and a shotgun,
Yeah.
maybe a grenade.
Yeah, it's
Like,
time to
fuck
suit up.
everything else. It's time to tool up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All bets are out the window now.
I will sell everything I have. I need like a Batman suit. Like,
Yeah.
You're going full crazy person.
Yeah.
I like it. Awesome.
yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this after show. It's been a ride, and it's only episode 3, so there's more to come. And a little bit scared and very excited. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.